All right, before we get started, I want to talk about the 6 different mallets I chose to use in the videos and why I did. The first one is the Vic Firth GB1, and this is my main mallet I use for most gongs. It's got a very large, heavy padded head, and I like that. Thing I like about it too, it's very flat, so there's actually a wide contact surface with the gong, but this one really can get the gongs moving, and I tend to use this on gongs maybe 22, 24 inches up as my main gong. The second one is the Bolter GM3, which unfortunately they do not make anymore, but I believe there is now a Vic Firth model. And I like this because it's a very heavy, hard head, and we can see it's yarn wound, and there's actually the plane area, the plane surface is very small right here. So you get a much more pointed sound with a lot of contact. And a mallet like this will bring out more highs than something like this, which will activate the whole gong and bring out a lot of lows. So you can even, see the difference in the heads. The next one I use is a pair of the Bolter GM4 rollers, which unfortunately they do not make. I don't know why. When Zildjian bought Mike Bolter after he retired, they dropped quite a few models, and this is one. And it's one whenever I went to get some from Mike, he was out of them. So I don't know. I thought they were pretty popular. But it's a similar head to this, slightly wider wrapping. I like these because they have a shorter handle. They're very well balanced for when I'm rolling on the gongs, and I find these really easy to get the gong activated and get a full sound. The next ones are a favorite of mine, the 13B. This is a yarn wound marimba mallet, and this is on a birch handle. I like birch because it's very solid, and I like this because it's got a good feel in the hand, and we can see a fairly flat head here. So you've got a wide plane surface, and if you can tell here, you can even see where it's been worn. And there's a lighter shade on the yarn from playing it. But I like these as an sort of an all-purpose mallet for a lot of things. I use these on bells and all sorts of percussion. But this is real nice, gets a real bright sound in the center of a gong, and if you roll like on the edge or the face of the gong, it brings out a lot of higher tones than the GM4s, which you can see the size difference here. The GM4s are going to bring out a lot of fullness, where these are just going to really get more of the upper sounds. The next one I use is a Bolter Basic BB6. This is a cord wound vibe mallet. So it's a little harder and a little smaller head, as you can see from the 13B marimba mallet. And this has got even less plane surface here. Just this edge here, where here we've got it spread out a bit. Here it's mainly right here on the edge. That is your plane surface. So being a little harder and a smaller plane surface than the marimba mallets, it brings out even more highs. Like you'll hear in the center of the gong really nice bell tones on some of the various bronze gongs from this. And then playing the surface or the edge, again, it's going to bring out a lot of the high-end tones. These are great on things like wood blocks and bells and other percussion. So it's another favorite of mine. The final one I use is the Bolter 17B. This is a bass marimba mallet. And it's what I like about it, it's a fairly heavy head, but it's got a very wide plane surface. So you can bring out a lot of the bass tones. I mean, it's a bit different than the GM4 roller here, but you can get much of the same effect. But I do like this again because it's got a fairly wide plane surface. So either with single strokes or as rollers, you can really get a lot of depth out of the gong. The other thing, and I talk about it on one of the videos, is that here, if this is your gong and you're playing straight on, you can tilt the mallet and play more up here, like on the stitching, and you'll get a lighter, brighter sound, and then move back down here and you'll get a fuller sound. So it's kind of a multi-sound mallet. So those are the 6 different mallets that I use in all 3 of the videos demonstrating the different gongs and comparing them to some of these sound creation ones. Now, I did not use any flumies, and the main reason for that is flumies are kind of fussy, and there's a lot of different ones out there, and I really wanted to take my time to find the right flumies and, you know, get acquainted with the bronze gongs. So I plan to make a flumie video down the road a bit, maybe in another month or 2, and then post that playing flumies on all 7 of the gongs. All right, so let's jump into the gongs. Okay, like I said, I want to go through each of the gongs and the 2 corresponding sound creation models with a array of mallets so we can really get a good comparison instead of just hitting each gong with one big padded mallet. So here is the current 26-inch Sound Creation Earth Gong, which the number 0 and number 1 bronze gongs are based on. So let's play this a bit just to get an idea. Tell you the mallets. This is a GB1 Vic Firth gong mallet, my favorite large padded mallet. And now we're going to use a Mike Bolter GM3, which has been replaced with a Vic Firth model. I can't think of the number, but it's a yarn wound, smaller striking surface, and a harder head. Difference you can hear here is it's a smaller, harder mallet head, so it activates the highs more right away. And you can hear the attack as opposed to a larger padded mallet, which will get a fuller sound, less attack. This is a set of Bolter GM4 rollers, which unfortunately they don't make anymore. We'll play these. Thing to notice is how easily this gong is activated with the mallets. The sound really comes out quickly. Here's a pair of 13 Balter marimba mallets. Because they're small and light, they're not getting the deepness out of the gong. They're just getting the higher frequencies. There's something like this being heavier. Right away you can tell the difference in more bass. Then I have some small cord wound vibe mallets. These are Balter Basics BB6, so even a little firmer than the marimba ones. And right in the center we can really get a high-pitched bell tone. And then here's some bass marimba mallets, the B17 Balters. They're fairly heavy. They have a wide playing surface so they can activate a lot of the metal and bring out the deeper tones. Something like the cord wound ones, the red ones, they're not going to bring out the deeper tones in the gong. So this is the number 3 Earth Gong from the Sound Creation series. And we'll switch that out. So here's the number 1, or excuse me, the number 0 of the Bronze Gongs, based on the Earth Gong. Very similar, the deep hammer marks. And we'll see how the bronze reacts. GM3. The GM4 rollers. Opens up easily, as you could tell. The sound just jumps out. I was barely playing it. Didn't take any force at all to get it to open up. Now the marimba mallets. impression of the 0 is very dark, very sensitive, very earthy. Let's compare it. I'll put the Earth Gong up here. Just compare it a little bit. So the Sound Creation Earth is a 26 inch. This is 28 inch. Bit of difference. Definitely the bronze one is darker, seems to accent the lower harmonics more, where the Sound Creation one, the nickel silver one, has this sort of a peak in the upper mids that really jumps out and gives it a bit brighter sound, yet it has that dark character. So look at the other Earth style gong. Number 1. I should show you the back of these too. Very beautiful. The bronze has a whole different shimmer to the light that hits it. Now this one has it looks like almost twice or even more hammer marks than the number 0. Sort of compare that. A lot more hammer strikes on it. Again, as I said in my first impression, it feels very stiff, where the number 0 felt soft, sort of buttery, flexible under the mallet. This feels very stiff. This one actually reminds me of my 32-inch Sound Creation Earth that I have. Very similar feel, very similar sound character. The thing I really notice is you need a heavier mallet to get the bottom tones out of this. Where with this, there's that mid presence with a little high, a little low. It's mostly mid, where the bigger mallet draws out the lower tones. So we'll play it with the rollers. difference between this and the zero, again, the zero is more sensitive. And when I played it with the rollers, I felt like I had to hold back almost because the gong wanted to really go and it would get away easily. Where this one, the number one, once I got it playing, it seemed to just settle. And I could just keep the same pressure, the same playing on it, and it just felt easy to ride it. And I could just keep it going and not worry about the sound jumping out or getting away from me. And what I liked is that low note stayed in there. It never got overpowered by the higher harmonics, or it never really disappeared. Very nice for rolling on, very controllable. Here are the marimba mallets here. High harmonics in this one. Now the bass marimba mallets. Again, my impression on this one is very controllable. So if you do a lot of rolling and sustained sounds, this might be one to look into, the number one. Very easy to control it. And if you could hear the lower notes really came out well with these. What I like about these mallets, there's a fairly big striking surface here. The heads are fairly heavy, so they really do help bring out the lower tones. Like right there, just nice low sound. So it's important, to have more than just a big padded mallet, to have a whole selection of mallets to draw out a lot of different sounds. Now we'll compare the number one with the original number 4 water gong. For me, standing here, the character is very similar, with the smaller gong a little higher in pitch but the character of the sound seems very similar. Again, with this one being a bit stiffer when you play it. I think those are very nice variations on the Sound Creation Earth Gong. And the bronze does give you a very different character. I do like the dark sound.